Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing well and you're managing to keep fast in this month of Ramadan and try and make the most of it as well. So inshallah we're going to continue with our lesson on the fiqh subject, and today I'm going to continue on Ramadan. So if you want to write the title as Ramadan and put today's date. So fasting is one of the 5 pillars of Islam. So remember, there are 5 pillars: Shahada, Salah, prayers, fasting, and Hajj, and Zakat. So they're the 5 pillars of Islam. You should try and know what they are and try and memorize them as well. So fasting in the month of Ramadan is fard for men and women who are mature and both mentally and physically as well. And fasting has many physical, moral, social benefits. However, Allah SWT has made fasting compulsory for us so that we become pious, we become God conscientious, God fearing. So remember, in the last lesson I said that in the Quran it's mentioned, Allah SWT says that fasting was ordained for you just as it was ordained for the people before you, so that you may attain taqwa, and the definition of taqwa is becoming God conscientious. So today's lesson we're going to try and go through some of the rules and regulations of fasting. So if you want to put like a next subtitle, you could say, and that is the intention of fasting. Now we mentioned the intention is one of the condition of fasting. So intention, you can just make it so within yourself or verbally. You don't have to make it loud, but within yourself, as long as you made the intention. Like for instance, if you get up for Sahri time, that is the meal at Subh Sadiq, just before the entry of Fajr, and you have a meal or a drink or something like that, then that's, you could say, is your intention. But you have until the midday to make the intention. But in Ramadan, you make intention the night before, that's fine as well, before you go to bed. So that's, you made the intention already. And the first and foremost thing is to start with the Sahri first. Sahri is the, you could say, the meal at Subh Sadiq, just before the entry of Fajr. Now that is it's a sunnah. It's not fard. You don't have to have it, but it is sunnah. And the Prophet ﷺ has mentioned that he's mentioned that verily Allah and the angels send blessings upon those who have Sahri. So Sahri is a very auspicious time. There's a lot of great blessings come. And one of the sunnah, and during the Sahri, right, you can have whatever meal that you want to have. Have plenty of nutritional food, and also drink lots of water as well. So you can have cereal, you can have rice or whatever kind of pasta or whatever it is that you like. That's going to keep you going throughout the whole day, and make sure that you also drink lots of water as well. And if you need to have any medications, vitamins or anything like that, that is the time to have it, because you won't be able to eat or drink until the sunset, until Maghrib time, which can be about roughly 15 to 17 hours in this time of the year. Once the sunset, the entry time for Maghrib comes in, right, so again you'll find in your timetable, right, it is sunnah to break your fast quickly as well, not to delay it. So whenever whatever time it says, that's the moment you start eating from. The next thing I wanted to go through was so remember so these are some of the things which are makruh whilst fasting. So if you're fasting, these things are makruh. So it doesn't break your fast, but these things are disliked, highly disliked. Sorry. So if I put the next subheading, things which are makruh. So first one you could say is to chew gum or any plastic or anything like that. So to put anything in your mouth, to chew it, because even though remember your fast is making sure that nothing goes down your throat into your stomach, so like food and drink. But if you put things like gum or anything plastic, then it's disliked. To taste any food or drink or anything like that, it's not liked as well. However, it's okay for a woman if they are cooking and they need to taste the food because they have to. If they can't avoid it, then that's better. But if they have to, then it's okay just for them, like just taste it but spit it out. It is also disliked to collect saliva into your mouth and to swallow it. Remember, swallowing saliva doesn't break your fast, but like in your mouth, if you collect a lot of saliva and swallow it, then that's considered as makruh. It is also makruh to use toothpaste to brush your teeth. So you can't brush your teeth. It doesn't break your fast, but if you use toothpaste, then it's adding flavor to the toothpaste, which goes into your mouth, and also there is a chance that some of it might go down your throat. So the best thing to do is to use a miswak to brush your teeth, because that doesn't have any flavor or anything like that, or just use a toothbrush without any toothpaste just to keep it clean. It is also considered like a makruh as well, that to complain that you're hungry or you're thirsty. And one of the way to avoid that, I remember this doctor who gave a seminar about Ramadan. The doctor said that if you mentally or psychologically prepare yourself for fasting, like you say to yourself, it's only for 15 hours, I've had my meal, I've had the drink, and Sahri time, I'm going to fast, and that's it. You don't think about too much about the day being very long or it being very hot or anything like that. Then you'll be able to much better cope with the long days of fasting, and you won't be complaining or anything like that as well. And think about all the rewards and benefits that you get whilst fasting. And also, it's not good to gargle with water as well. So if you're doing wudu or something like that, don't put too much water in your mouth and start gargling, because the risk of water going back of your throat, that could break your fast. So you shouldn't gargle. And the other things are like fasting is not only, as we mentioned, right, only about stopping eating and drinking and other lewd action, but it's also to stop doing other bad things. You shouldn't be doing them anyway, like for instance, swearing, backbiting, telling lies, or using vulgar languages and things like that. So you shouldn't be doing them kind of things whilst fasting. The next subheading, if you want to put down, is things that break one's fast. So this is the things that breaks one fast. So now, if somebody breaks a fast, now there are two things. One is either you have to make up for that fast. So if which is known as qada, or there is another type which is kafara. And I'll go to the differences, inshallah. The kafara is the one where if you break your fast in the month of Ramadan without a valid reason, then to make up for it, you have to keep 60 consecutive fasts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, up to 60, which is many fasts. If somebody is unable to do that, then what they would do is they would feed 60 people 2 meals. So that's like however much it costs to like feed a normal person a meal. They would feed that to 60 people. So like 120 meals, basically, you could say. So these are the things that which breaks the fast, but it's only but makes it. But if any of these things happen, then it's only qada, which means like you just have to make up the fast, not the kafara part, qada. Okay. So if somebody puts any food down your mouth by force, so if somebody forces any food or drink down your mouth, you're not doing it yourself, then that breaks your fast. If water, whilst you're gargling, and if water goes back of your throat, then that breaks your fast as well. So that's why, remember I said whilst you're doing wudu, right, don't gargle if you're fasting. So just put water in your mouth and just rinse it out, like a handful of water in your mouth and rinse it out. Don't gargle, because the risk of water going back of your throat is very high. If you vomit intentionally, a mouthful. So if you force yourself to vomit, even by little bit, and if it was to be collected all together, it would be a mouthful, then that would break your fast. Or if you make yourself vomit and a lot of vomit comes out, which is like a mouthful, then that would also break your fast. If you swallow anything intention, like pebble or paper or something like that, then that would also break your fast. Sometime what might happen is after Sahri, depending on what kind of food you had, you might have some food stuck in your teeth, and the time for fasting has entered, and if you get that food out of your from your mouth in your teeth or something like that, from your back, which is stuck in your teeth, and you swallow it, and if it's the size of a gram, which is like a small chickpea basically, then that would break your fast as well. Putting oil into your ear, that breaks your fast. Swallowing blood from your gum, so if for any reason somehow you manage to cut your gum, however, if the blood is flowing so profusely, like a lot of blood is coming out, and you swallow that, then that would break your fast. But if it's just like a little cut and a little bit of blood coming out, and that doesn't break your fast. For instance, when you spit out and you look at your saliva and you see that there's like a little bit of blood, it's not like a lot of blood basically, then that's okay. But if it's a lot of blood and you swallow it, then that would break your fast. If you eat or drink because you forgot that you're fasting, but then you realize that, oh, I'm fasting, but you continue to eat or you continue to swallow, then that would break your fast as well. And when the time for Sahri ends, like you look at your timetable, so whatever time it says there, then if you continue to eat a few minutes after that, then that would also break your fast. And it also same as well, if you look at the timetable, and it would tell you when the time for Maghrib is, and if you eat just before that, then your fast is broken. You have to make up a qada. So all this what I've said to you, right? These ones, if it happens, then you have to make up qada fast. Now, kafara, which is one where you have to is where if you break your fast in the month of Ramadan without a valid reason, then you have to keep 60 consecutive fasts or feed 60 people 2 meals. And these are if you eat or drink and you break your fast without any valid reason, or if you take any kind of medications. There are certain kind of medications in your life. For instance, you could take injection, is fine. If somebody has to take that, like insulin, that's okay. Or if somebody has to take inhaler, then it's okay as well. But inhaler one, there are different types. Again, you need to get it checked out as well. But normal inhaler is fine. Or if you apply surma or oil and it goes into your ear, or surma goes into your eye, then that will break your fast. And if that happens, then you have to do a kafara, which is keep 60 or feed 60 people. The next subheading, if you want to put down, is things that do not break the fast. So these are the things that if it happens, it doesn't break fast. So that these are, if you eat or drink something unintentionally, so in the morning or in the afternoon you start eating or drinking, and whether you finish the food or you're halfway through it and you realize that, oh, I'm fasting, then that doesn't break your fast. So however, if you got any food in your mouth, like, and then you realize I'm fasting, then you need to spit out or don't chew it, or whatever's in your mouth, just spit it out in the bin, or if it's drink or something like that, then in the sink. Because once you realize that you're fasting, and if the food is still in your mouth and if you swallow it, then that breaks your fast. However, if you spit it out or food and drink, then it doesn't break your fast. And if, for instance, you finished the food that you were eating or snack that you were eating, you completely finished it, and then a few minutes later or even a few hours later you realize, oh, I'm fasting, it's fine, continue fasting, your fast hasn't broken. If any fly or a mosquito goes into your mouth and back of your throat, because that's unintentional, again, that doesn't break your fast. If water enters into your ear, then that doesn't break fast. That's why. So you can actually have a shower or a bath. It doesn't break your fast. But if you're having a bath or if you're going to the swimming pool, then you have to be very careful, because the risk of water going into your mouth and going back of your throat or going through your nose. But water going down your ear, it doesn't break your fast. If any dust or dirt going down your throat, like if you're outside and it's very windy, or it's very dusty, and or like a sand or something like that, and it goes into your mouth, then that doesn't break your fast. if you, especially whilst you're fasting, you might notice that you get a lot of saliva, and if you swallow that doesn't break your fast. Taking an injection doesn't also break your fast. So if somebody is diabetic or something like that and they're allowed to fast and they have to take injection, then that doesn't break fast. And having a bath or something like that also doesn't break fast. If you're rubbing oil or cream into your body, it doesn't break your fast. And if you vomit unintentionally, so for unknown reason or something like that, you just vomit something, whether it's a little bit or a lot, but you're not doing it on purpose, then it's unintentional, then that doesn't break your fast. If you apply perfume or attar or anything like that, that doesn't break your fast as well. Brushing teeth doesn't also break your fast as well, as I mentioned earlier. However, you have to be very careful with toothpaste, so it's best to use a miswak or just toothbrush on its own. And so I think that's about it really. One of the other thing is so I mean that's what I wanted to go through in terms of for that. So the next one is so you can say people. The next subheading you want to put down people who are exempted from fasting in Ramadan. So these are people who don't have to fast when it's further them to fast. Okay, so if somebody who's sick or very ill because of old age or because of any kind of illness they have, may Allah give them shifa and afiyah. For that reason, it is, and doctor says, and a doctor says to them that you can't fast because it will have detrimental, it will harm you. Then they don't have to fast. So all they do is, depending on what it is, right after Ramadan, they just make up for them fast. So they could make them up fast in the shorter days. That's if they're able to fast. If they can't fast, then they would just feed a poor person a meal basically for the number of fasts they missed or couldn't keep. Next one is a musafir, someone who's a traveler. So if somebody is traveling more than 77 kilometers and they're staying for more than 14 and not staying somewhere more than 14 days. So someone who's a traveler or traveling and it's going to be very difficult and hard for them to travel and fast at the same time, then they don't have to fast. However, the journey they have to set off before the entry of Fajr. So for instance, if they wake up at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock and they decide to go somewhere like 77 kilometers or 54 miles, like for instance traveling from Sheffield to, they decide to go to Leicester or somewhere or London at 10 o'clock, then they have to fast. If however they set off on their journey before the entry of the entry of Fajr, before the set time ended, then they don't have to fast. However, if it's not going to be too difficult for them, then it's better for them to keep the fast. If somebody keeps a fast and for whatever reason they feel that they're gonna suffer or they could even die from thirst or from hunger, then they may break their fast. Okay, so these are the things that these are the people who are exempt from fasting. The next thing I wanted to go through is the one thing you might notice in the month of Ramadan is something. In month of Ramadan is a month of the Quran. I'm sure you all reading lots of Quran and making lots of du'as and doing as much extra worship as possible. But one of the things that you might have noticed is people do a prayer called Taraweeh the night before. And Taraweeh is a prayer that takes place after Isha and until the entry of Fajr. And the Taraweeh is a night prayer and it consists of 20 rak'ah. Okay, 20. So it's like 2, 2, 2, 2. So that's 10 sets of 2 rak'ah of 20. So it's 20 rak'ah basically. It is not fard, but it is sunnah muakkida. It is straight sunnah that you should be performed. Now usually you would perform Taraweeh For the men, usually they go to the masjid and they pray Isha with the congregation, and then they would pray Taraweeh with the Imam and congregation as well. But because of this lockdown, because of the COVID-19 coronavirus, the masjids are not open, so you should be praying Taraweeh at home, either on your own or with your family. So you could pray Taraweeh, and what if it's you who's leading the Taraweeh, then you pray 2 rakat, then 2 rakat, then have a short break, like a few seconds, then another 2, 2, 4, and you could pray you could read whatever surahs that you've memorized from Quran. So it could be the last 10 surahs, or it could be however much you memorized, or if you're struggling, then you could always read in every rak'ah, for instance, Inna A'tayna in the first rak'ah and Qul Huwallahu Ahad in the second rak'ah. So you could do that for all 20 rak'ah if you wanted to do that. That's fine. Just a little background for Taraweeh. Taraweeh during the time of the Prophet ﷺ, what happened was, in the month of Ramadan, once in the night time, he prayed in the masjid with the people in a congregation. Then the next night, the Sahabas was waiting as well. They wanted to pray with. This is after Isha, like extra prayers. Again, some Sahabas was waiting to pray with the Prophet ﷺ, so they prayed, and that happened the third night as well. Then on the fourth night, the Sahabas, they were waiting to pray with the Prophet ﷺ. However, Prophet ﷺ, he did not come. So on the whole night went. Then after the Prophet, he told them, right, the reason why he didn't want to do that, because if they did that, then that prayer would become fard on them, and that would be, then it might become quite difficult for people. Now, during the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, who was the second Khalif, so when the Prophet passed away and Abu Bakr became the Khalif, and who was the Khalif for roughly 2.5 years, and when Abu Bakr passed away, Umar ibn al-Khattab, he became the Khalif, the leader of the Muslim world. And once in the month of Ramadan, he came to the masjid, and what he noticed was that after Isha, there were some people praying on their own, some people in a small congregation. So different people in different parts of the masjid were praying, and they were praying the salah called Taraweeh. So what he did was, he said it doesn't look very good. So he commanded, or he gave the instruction, he said, okay, I want everyone to come together. And then he chose Ubay ibn Ka'ab, who was one of the Sahaba, because he had a very beautiful voice. Because Prophet ﷺ said, right, if you want to learn Quran, learn from Ubay ibn Ka'ab, because his recitation of the Quran was one of the best amongst the Sahabas, and he was also one of the Hafiz or the Hufaz of the Quran as well. So Umar ibn Khattab instructed Ubay ibn Ka'ab to lead the people in congregation to pray Taraweeh. And then Umar he came the next day, and he saw that Ubay ibn Ka'ab was leading the people, everyone praying together behind him, Taraweeh. And he looked at them and he said, and he smiled, and he was very happy about that. And he said, what a beautiful, you could say, new thing that we've started, basically. And so from there, it became a sunnah for us. Now you might be thinking, from our previous class, sunnah isn't it something that only the Prophet ﷺ does? No. So we consider anything that Abu Bakr or Umar ibn Khattab introduced, as long as it doesn't contradict the Sharia, which it won't, because the scholars won't allow that, then that's also a sunnah as well. So anything that Abu Bakr or Umar ibn Khattab, if they did something, like if they introduce something, then that's also like a stress sunnah. It's not a fard, but sometimes it's a stress sunnah that we follow and emulate. And Tarawih is one of them. It's something that Umar ibn Khattab, in terms of, you could say, instructed or invented to be prayed in congregation on behind one imam. So that is something that Umar ibn Khattab did that. And in the early days they would pray, but many generations later they started reading the whole Quran in the month of Ramadan. So that's something new that was invented a bit later on. So that's something for that as well. So some of you are asking about Taraweeh, and that's the history behind Taraweeh. So Taraweeh is 20 rak'ah, because that's how it's always been from the time of Umar ibn al-Khattab, over 1,400 years ago. And then after that, the succeeding Khilafas, Uthman, Ali, Muawiyah, and then the Abbasis, the Umayyads, and the Mamluks, the Ottomans, and in Spain the Andalusians. And the Imam that we follow, Imam Abu Hanifa, is also in our madhab is we pray 20 rakat, and also in the Shafi and the Hanbali as well, they pray 20 rakat as well. However, in the Maliki madhab, they pray 20, but they also pray, some of them also pray 36. And the reason why they pray 36 was because Imam Malik, who was one of the great Imam, he went to Mecca for Hajj, but in those days they would go there a few months in advance. So he was there in the month of Ramadan, and what he noticed was in Mecca, they would pray Tarawih. They would pray 4 rakah, like 2, and then it's like a Tarawih, like having like a pause, like a short break. But in Mecca, what he noticed, right, that they would pray 2, and they would pray 2, and then they would do tawaf around the Kaaba. Then they would pray another 2, and they would do another tawaf around the Kaaba. So he thought that's a great thing, because they're praying 4 and they're doing tawaf, getting extra reward. But you can't do that anywhere else other than Mecca, where you can do tawaf. So when he went to Medina, he mentioned that what he did was he would pray 2, like 4, and then that tarawih, that short break, instead of just sitting there doing nothing, he would pray another extra 4. So he added another few more, and which made to 36. So that's the Maliki madhab. They sometimes pray 36, and that's how it's always been. If you look at Makkah and Medina, you will see that when they're praying tarawih, they pray 20 there. You might come across some people saying it's 8, or some people just praying 8 or whatever. That's fine, because we follow the madhab in terms of the Hanafi madhab, or some people follow the Shafi or Malikis. But there are some people who don't follow the madhabs. They follow their own understanding of the religion from Quran and Sunnah. That's fine, nothing wrong with that. Leave it to them. You do what you have to do in terms of the way you've been taught by your teachers or by your parents. And that's the thing, okay? So we pray Tarawih is 20, and then after that, after you pray Tarawih, they would pray witr salah in congregation. Normally witr you don't pray in congregation, you pray on your own, but only in the month of Ramadan, if you pray Tarawih behind the Imam, then you would pray the witr behind the Imam. And after that, if you still have time, if you have the energy, and you want to do tahajjud prayer, the night prayers, then you may do so. So that's fine. You could pray 2, you could pray 4, you could pray 6, you could pray 8, you could pray 12. It's up to you. That's extra prayer, that's fine, as much as you can. Or if you want to read some Quran or do some zikr or whatever it is, that's fine. With that, we're going to stop our lesson. So inshallah, we'll continue next time. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.